a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Good evening. Warning, this video contains content that is not suitable for all audiences. Some of the information in the following video could be shocking to some viewers and is likely to cause unexpected reactions. This video is for educational purposes only and does not break any of YouTube's policies as outlined in their community guidelines. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Come on in, friends. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday evening. Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network. That was a little slip. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Please hit the like button, share. Welcome. Come on in, everybody. Hello, Sue. Hello, Miss Linda. Hello, Sir Howie. Hello, Rue. Hello, Monica. I'm going through the chat. Hello, everybody. Miss Rue, and Miss Suze. How is everybody tonight? Welcome. Thanks for sharing out. That was a Freudian slip, Howie. He's laughing. Welcome, travelers and those alike. It almost slipped out. I was like, R.I.F.T. Oop, I always slip on that almost. I'm so used to almost saying R.I.F.T Radio Network. And then we're R.I.F.T Nation Network. But sometimes it just slips out. It just kind of just rolls off the tongue. Can't help it. I hope everybody is doing well on this lovely Wednesday evening. We are streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So please hit the like button if you're on YouTube. Hit the like button on Facebook as well. Hello, Denise. Welcome. Come on in. Are you guys ready for true crime this evening or what? We have not one case. And I better see Miss Tammy in here because she's always saying, why is there only one case? It's never long enough. And now I have two cases for Miss Tammy, but I know she's been busy lately. So come on in. I hope everybody's doing well, getting ready for a long weekend here in the States. It's Memorial Day weekend to our Canadian friends for us. So we're all off on Monday. So that's a nice long weekend for all of us. So welcome to the show. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Hi, Miss Kathy. How are you? Kathy, I said, Tammy is always saying, there's never enough cases. And I'm like, oh, Tammy will be so happy right now because I'm doing two. Oh, she's looking for her phone. Miss Tammy. We got to have Miss Tammy in here. So I hope you all are doing well. Tonight we have two cases, and the one case is pretty Interesting because it goes back. It's the second case we've got tonight. It's a case that goes back to the 1930s here in the United States in Reno, Nevada. And it's a pretty interesting case. The authorities now, the person, of course, has never been found, but the authorities believe that the mob had something to do with this gentleman's disappearance. But when I looked at the event chart, when you see what the event chart maps out for us, it's crazy. So everything matches. It's a pretty interesting story. There was a pretty famous mobster, and his name was Babyface Nelson. He is the alleged trigger person in this guy's disappearance, and that was Babyface was in a shootout with and was unalived. So he never did say anything about Frisch's disappearance. Frisch was a banker, and he was apparently a very trusted banker, which in those days, I don't think too many people were trusted. But it's an interesting old historical case dating back to the 1930s. But I think it's interesting to see that we can go back to the 1930s and compose a chart back as long as the 30s, and it still tells us what happened on that particular night. Wait till you see this, because even back then, what's interesting about back in the 1930s, we didn't have cameras. Of course, we don't have Ring cameras. We didn't have phones. But back then, we had eyewitnesses. So even the eyewitnesses that Frisch ran into the night he disappeared match up to what the event chart does. It's just so interesting. Hello, Miss Michelle. How are you, my dear? Hello, Miss Lee. I hope you're doing well. I'm waiting for Tammy because I'm just going to give her a hard time, because Tammy's always saying, oh, you don't have enough cases. You're never on long enough. Why does the hour go by so fast? And I'm like, yeah, it does. Every week it goes by so fast. So I'll wait and we'll look for Tammy. But Kathy said she's looking for her phone, so we'll give her an excuse. Tonight's first case is a young lady, a beautiful young girl. This is really a sad case. And again, this is another case. Hi, Miss Linda. How are you? This is a sad case that has not gotten any attention, as so many do not. It just seems like there are so many, I guess Maricopa County law enforcement is, they're short staffed or what have you. But the young lady that was unalived, her name is Mercedes Vega. Of course, she was found. However, her parents have just recently come out, and they didn't want to really come out publicly until it's been over a year. They felt like, enough is enough. We haven't heard anything. And now that they have come out recently within the past, I guess, 30 to 60 days, and have been getting out on social media, interviews and talking. Seems like reports are coming out now. It's just funny how that happens. But this particular case begins in a town called Tempe, Arizona. And Mercedes Vega was 22 years old. I'm going to give you a really good picture of Mercedes. Look how beautiful she is. There she is. Mercedes Vega was 22 years old. She was an exotic dancer and studying, I believe it was like physical therapy, some kind of therapy or trainer. She was studying to be a trainer. She was a part-time exotic dancer. She lived in Tempe, Arizona, as you all know, is a college town as well. And I think the most frustrating thing about her particular case is the area she was at. There are cameras everywhere. Now, you know as well as I do, and I don't know of course, it's under investigation. But had law enforcement gone out immediately. And we've seen this too many times on the cases where they hit the ground running, they get to the cameras, the cases are solved. But they have to do it quickly. You can't go back in a year's time. And I'm not saying that they've done that because we don't know what they've got. It's still under investigation. I think this would have been solved, could have been solved, should have been solved. There were also eyewitnesses. This is her car, and we'll get into it a little bit more, was found on what's called the I-10 highway. It is the busiest highway that leads from Arizona into Los Angeles. So that would be busy all areas of the night, the I-10 highway. So I think, I don't know who dropped the ball, but let's hope that her case gets a little bit of, we'll share it and get it out there and see if we can get some answers for her parents. And her story begins, Mercedes had planned, she lived in a beautiful gated community. This is the last photo of Mercedes alive. It was captured in her parking garage in her beautiful apartment in Tempe, Arizona on April the 16th, 2023. Now, like I said, this has gone on since 2023. We just recently found out this week that we thought she was going to, is it Buster and Dave's, that place that's fun, where you play games, and meet some friends. And I did her chart. I'll tell you a little side story. And I did her event chart. And I thought, why is this showing up work? Everything involved in this chart, and you're going to see it, is all related to her work. She was going out that night with friends. Well, now we found out this week that from investigators that she canceled her plans to go out with friends and was going into work. So when I heard that today, I thought, so the chart, I'm never going to doubt the charts. I don't even know why I should doubt the event charts. They're just not wrong. So apparently, and this is what her parents have come out and said, that she was jumped in the garage somehow. Now, her mother stated that she went back to where she would have parked in her garage, and there was still blood evidence in the garage area that had not been collected, had not been looked at. So that tells you the type of investigation this started out as. So Mercedes, I'm going to make this bigger so we can read it. This was the flyer that was put out about regarding Mercedes, and it was the circumstances regarding her unalive. She was hit over the head in the Aubrey parking garage, which was her apartment complex. She was forced into a vehicle. She was shot in her arm and eventually set on fire while she was still alive. Her car, which was a white Dodge Charger, was found parked illegally in Tempe, Arizona, still running. Her car was running. She was found, the car was on fire from the inside on the I-10 highway. So she had a wound to the head, shot in the arm. She had bleach in her throat, and the examiner said the cause was from basically inhalation, smoke inhalation, and due to the fire. The fire was concentrated around her face, the lighter fluid around her face and her hands. Now, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not an expert, but this was absolutely, I 100% was going to say that, Keith. 100% sounds like somebody she knew that was extremely angry with her. Absolutely. I mean, and I don't know if there was a SA involved either. That has never been disclosed. Again, it's under investigation. It's only been a year. So this is what was put out as well, that, people, the friends and family wanted people to know she was an American part-time dancer. She was born on March 10th. There are her parents, Erica and Tom Pillsbury. She apparently had just a beautiful singing voice, played the violin. She was found dead, burning in a 218 Chevrolet Malibu, white. It's never been solved. Has it ever been investigated? That's my question. I've never been solved. Has it ever been investigated? Okay, I'm going to try to. Oh, wait, I made this too big. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so this is another beautiful picture of this beautiful 22-year-old, and friends and family came out. Still, Mercedes deserves justice. And yes, she does. We have now come to find out recently that the 911 caller, again, another picture of this beautiful young lady. Here's the thing. A 911 caller called in and said, I think there's a car in a ditch. It's on fire. And there was somebody outside of the vehicle. So there was a witness that called in on the 911 call that saw someone outside of the vehicle, more than likely the perp. Also, when her other car was dropped off and left running in that one spot, there is video of the person that drove the car there. Now, the car that they found her in was a junked car by the dealer. It was a junked car put on a lot, and the girl that had owned the vehicle said it was totaled. So, who owned the vehicle? Who owned the vehicle? Why has that not been? It's easy to track down a car. That you can't just go buy a vehicle without information. There's so many open holes in this case. It's so frustrating. And to see the interviews with her parents are heartbreaking. Now, I just watched a YouTube video that they took her ashes to Hawaii, and they felt she was with them, and they felt at peace. And it's actually the first time her mother even cracked a smile or was not breaking up and said, I finally feel at peace with this. So I'm just going to pray that they find the monster that did this, because as well as I do, there's pictures. 2023, a year ago, there's videos. This was in a lot of areas where there were stores, but it's hard to go back a year later and say to the gas station, because the cameras usually tape over themselves. But maybe gets the word out, and maybe somebody will say, hey, I was driving down the I-10 when that happened. I saw a car on fire. I saw a red car pulled off to the side of the road. Because let's face it, whoever did this to her, did they leave walking? They drove her there. She was in the back seat of the vehicle. She was still alive before the fire hit, from what the medical examiner said. It's just tragic. Oh, absolutely. They should have checked video first thing. You see these cases and it's like, here we go again. Agree. I know. And Donna is right. Donna says, I would be questioning every employee of the dealership. And maybe they did, maybe they did. It's still under investigation. Of course. Accomplice. Yes. Rue. How many? And it sounds like Ellie really dropped the ball. Yeah. Maricopa County in Arizona. Let's hope that they've got an investigation and they're really working this case hard, because it seems like there are witnesses, there are cameras. and they are not giving anybody, including her family, any information. And again, that's why the family just got frustrated. Now, here's a picture of the little town and where the car was found on fire. Car on fire on the I-10. Genopa is the little town outside of Tempe in the Phoenix area. And the car, that's where the car was on fire. So this is a very well-traveled highway. It was at 1 in the morning when someone drove by and called 911. So at 1 in the morning, somebody was driving by. And Michelle, I don't see how they couldn't be investigating this from the get-go. They aren't going, I know. I'm trying hard not to say that, Michelle, when I want to. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Maricopa County, I wouldn't hold our breath for them to do anything. You know what, Rue, I'm thinking about it. Wasn't Daniel Robinson with a Maricopa County case? Little Daniel that went missing? Wasn't Daniel Robinson's case out in that area? And Donna says, I'm going with barely alive. If she had bleach in her throat, the perp may have thought she was unalive and was getting rid of evidence. Yes. Yeah, with lighter fluid. Lighter fluid. So let's now, we don't have anything to go on except the fact that, yes, okay. I don't know if you all are familiar with this. Another case. Yes, Daniel, absolutely. Another ball drop, which was the case of Daniel Robinson. And Daniel went missing in the desert and they found his car. Very suspicious. I think Daniel Robinson's disappearance has been suspicious from the get-go. And I know we've mapped it, Rue. We mapped Daniel's case, and his dad was from South Carolina, North Carolina, went out there, and another drop the ball case. Not on the ball. It's almost like these folks have to get PIs, and PIs are so expensive. So it's like, whew, or lawyers and sue. I mean, I don't know what else they can do. Look at this chart, Rue. This is for you guys. This is so interesting. Now, when I looked at this chart, again, if you want to look at the house that says the 6th, that is work. That's where a person works. If we see another indication of something in the 6th house, indicates a stalker. Okay. So we're going to take a look like we always do in the 1st house, and that will indicate Mercedes. What planet is that? Well, it's Scorpio, so it's going to be Mars. Okay, so we're going to look for Mars in the chart, which is up in the 9th house. That's where she was found. What's the 9th house? It is a highway, and it's a big highway. It would be like your major highways, like I-75, the I-10, I-64. It is a major highway. 3rd house is like neighborhood. 9th house is your highways. Out in the open in the 9th house, and she was out in the open. Cancer, that would be white or gray. She was in a white car. So that's where she was found. So I went down and I looked. Oh, I'm sorry. And then we look at the moon, because the moon is always the co-ruler in a chart. So Mercedes would have been like at the 5th house, which is a place that people enjoy. Fun places, bars, golf courses, ballparks. Well, she was headed to work. And Neptune is in that house, which to me would indicate cameras. I wonder if they ever checked the She never made it to work, but did they check the cameras where she worked? That's my question. Did they check those cameras at her workplace in that 5th house? So then we go up to the house that says number 6. Oh, my bad. We're going to look at the 7th house for the perp. Taurus, which would be Venus. So Venus is up in the 8th house. The 8th house is the house of unalive. As you all know, we connect it down to the 4th house, which was her home. The end of the matter, she was abducted from her home. And we see that. And you can see it hooks up with Neptune, which is the camera. We saw that. There's more footage of her in that garage. Other than that's Neptune, that's videos. Okay. So I continued to look because that 6th house is the house that intrigued me the most. This is either somebody at her work that knows her, is a customer at her work that knows something. This is, I don't know what it is, but it's work related. And so let's think about what we can get more out of the chart. Oh, looky there. It's the sun. It's an older man. Older man connects right to her house. Could be a larger man, could be a big guy because it's next to Jupiter. Could be a big guy. Now, if the 7th house ruler is in the 8th house, and that's what it is, the perp is a sleazy, dangerous criminal. And that came out of one of our books that we used to look up event chart information. Muscular with curly hair. That was the description because I looked those up. Okay, let's see what. So Rue chimed in. I agree with you. Someone who knows or someone with her work. And that 6th house just lit me. That the 6th house, Rue, is lit up. It's just lit up. And when you have the 6th house lit up, it's someone that she knows, she's associated with. Knew the car was junk. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the insurance agent, because associated with work. And Donna, that's a good point because we just had a car totaled as well. And we had to work with the insurance adjuster. And the insurance adjuster, they could easily look that up on the VIN number. The insurance adjuster would know exactly who it was. That's how long would that take? A phone call? They could easily track down that car. Easily. So I think, Rue, do you see anything? That's a great point, Donna. And Donna feels like that going with barely alive, if she had bleach in her throat, the perp may have thought she was unalive and was getting rid of the evidence. Yeah, we looked at that. I wonder why the police aren't saying something. You want to answer that one, Rue? We've had 2 now, Linda, with this particular agency that, or this area, I should say, and it just can never get answers. You can never get answers, can you, Rue? From them. I don't know. I know now, Linda, of 2 cases where the parents have come out publicly and stated how frustrated they are with the performance that they've gotten from this particular these agencies. And I know Daniel Robinson, his daddy was such a gentleman, such a class act. And the same thing with Mercedes' parents. And they don't want to be negative, and they're not being negative at all, but they're frustrated. They're frustrated. And both of these parents just are full of so much class, and something is wrong out there. I agree. I agree with you, Rue, because we've seen it with Daniel's case and now with Mercedes' case. This case should have easily been solved. Easily. There was enough. To me, this shows somebody that's very careless, too, because of the fact that did they run the bullet? Was there a bullet in her arm? I mean, I don't know. It is frustrating. She's a beautiful young girl, and I just hope. I think they need to check the people that she works with. Maybe they would have had information. Maybe get a private eye, but. And Kathy says, do you know that as long as the police and the detective have the license plates to that car, they can track it. They track it with NASA. Exactly. They can track it from absolutely they can. They can do the satellite. Absolutely they can do the satellite pictures. Yes. Absolutely. They sure can. And especially on a major highway, I would think that those satellite pictures would be pretty. That's what they should do, is run them on that at that time. And they had that particular time. It was around 1 a.m., 1:15 a.m. So yes, NASA can do it. Of course they can. Hi, Miss Tammy. How are you? I have to confess, Tammy. I was saying, where's Miss Tammy? Where's Tammy? Because I have 2 cases tonight, and she's always saying it goes by so fast. And I'm like, Tammy, I have 2 cases for you tonight. So you're going to have to go back and watch the beginning of this case, Tammy, because it's just so frustrating. But hopefully people can stay on it. We can share within social media, and maybe somebody, a witness or somebody that saw something on that evening and thought maybe it was just a car burning, and come forward. Maybe we could get the word out. So, oh, geez. Look at this, you guys. Frustrated, can't find phone, and dealing with a snake. Yuck. Keep the snakes in Texas. We don't want snakes. We don't like snakes. Here's a good case for you, Tammy. You'll like this one. Okay, you guys, this is an interesting case. Now, wait till you see this chart too. This is super. And you're going to hear a storm. We're in the storm zone tonight. So it's if you hear thunder, that's what it is. Now, this case, this is on March 22nd, 1934. Now, this is how cool this case is. Yeah. No, that's right. This is 1934. And this is in Reno, Nevada. And Frisch was a banker. Frisch lived, now, like back in the day, he lived with his mother and his sister, and they were having a card party on the evening that Frisch decided, I'm not going to be around the card party. I'm going to the Majestic Theater and see a movie. So Frisch walked about 7:45 p.m. to the movie. So at first I thought, well, we got 7:45 as a timestamp. Then with a little bit more investigation, I thought, oh, wait a minute. After the film, a female saw Frisch at the corner of Sierra and Court Street, and they talked. So there was a witness at around 10 o'clock. Frisch was seen heading back to his house. Okay. Well, Frisch was supposed to testify against 2 gentlemen, William Graham and James McKay, in a mail fraud case. Okay. And the 2 gentlemen were involved with, guess what? At that time, of course, organized crime. So Frisch disappeared before, guess what? Before he could testify. Now, the gangster George Babyface Nelson is a possible suspect in Frisch's disappearance. He was a former driver for Graham and frequently visited Reno. He is known to have arrived in Reno on March 20th, and he left on March 22nd, the night that Frisch disappeared. Okay, so in 1935, a confession was made of one of Babyface's partners. He stated that Babyface hit him in the head, hit Frisch in the head with a gun, and later took him to a garage and unalived him, and they disposed of him in a mine. However, all the mines were searched in the area. Nobody could find they couldn't find Frisch. Now, the Graham Mansion was right behind this home. And somebody said they heard shovels and saw gentlemen with shovels that night. But, that could have been another rumor. So, Babyface was eventually unalived in a gun battle. And then the two guys, McKay and Graham, did go to jail for 9 years on fraud, but then they were pardoned, and Frisch has never been found since 1934. Now, they did find one of those guns with like the big like ball things on the bottom of them, and it's rumored that was Babyface's gun. So obviously, this is a mob situation. Now wait until you guys see this. And I wasn't going to show you, and I thought I gotta show these guys this, because this is just mind-boggling. Okay. Oh, I hid the ticker. Whoops. Oh, that's okay. I hid the ticker, but that's okay. So look at this chart. I'm going to make it bigger so I can look at it. Okay, so we're going to look at Of course, we're going to look at Frisch. Again, we got another Scorpio. So we're going to look at Mars. We can look at Mars and Pluto and the moon. So, of course, we see poor Frisch is up in the 8th house with Pluto at that darn 22 degrees, that malefic degree in the unalive house. Of course, the moon is also the co-ruler, which is Frisch, 8th house, both of them. That's the unalive house. What's very interesting to me is we go by the mileage under the IC at the bottom of the chart, and it's 0 miles. It's 0. I've never, in all the charts I've done, I've never seen 0. So I'm thinking, well, he didn't go anywhere. He's where that he was abducted, perhaps. There's 0 miles. Just a little odd. So we're going to look at the perps, which would be Venus, because Taurus is on the ascendant. So the perps, look at that. What do you know? They're in the neighborhood. So they are in his neighborhood. We go up to the 11th house where the perp is connected to Jupiter, Libra. That's 2 people. 2 people were involved, and it was someone that Frisch knew. So, of course, Frisch knew Graham and McKay. I thought that was interesting. The end of the matter, it looks like, and then when we look at the perps, we're going to go to Mars, Frisch, and there's another older man. Uranus, surprised, unexpected violence from the movie theater, walking. And Neptune, as he went around the corner, of course, Neptune could be scandals, foul play, because they didn't have videos back then. So I thought it was very interesting that it involved somebody he knew, 2 people, definitely with the Libra. End of the matter, he was put in a car and with an older man. He's right next to that older man, violence. And the end result is the 8th house, which is the house of unalived. But I think what's really cool is the 0 miles. So he's right. He's within, where is he? I don't know. Yeah, Tommy gun. That's what it's called. The gun with the ball on it. It's the gun with the ball on it. It's got that thing on the bottom. The Tommy gun was found in the river. Okay, here we go. Question is, was this confusion given after baby faces unalive because they didn't and blamed a ghost? No, he was blamed prior to him being unalived. Babyface was unalived in 1934, in November of 1934. Oh, okay. Nelson in 1935. So, yeah, it was after. You're right, Donna. So, it was after the fact. So, maybe this guy said that because he wanted to, but through the course of the investigation, Babyface was there and people had seen a black car in the neighborhood. So, that's what the investigators feel like. That's what they think happened, but they have never found him. So what do you think of that chart, Rue? I think this case is so I think both of these charts are pretty darn spot on. Yeah, and it's a Tommy gun, Keith. It was found in the river. You know what? I'm gonna look at this chart because the Tommy gun was found in the river. Let's look for water. Well, when we look for water, we can look at Pisces. Neptune can be water. Let's see what else, Rue. We got Pisces. Oh, Cancer up in the 8th house as well. Now, remains would be Saturn in the 3rd house. That could be Aquarius. It could be possibly Aquarius, could be a higher up area. It could be where a rocky area, construction area with rocks. Aquarius is rocks, sometimes meet water. Let's see, what else do we see? I think the 8th house says it all. But Libra, 2 people involved. So I think it's pretty well tells the story. But Tommy gun would be Mars. Oh, okay. Here we go, Donna. You do know that Tommy gun was created here in Newport, Mr. Thompson of the Thompson House. I did not know that. So, and my dad used to always say in Newport, and this is so funny because Newport was Las Vegas. Newport, Kentucky was Las Vegas before Reno and Las Vegas became Las Vegas. And what happened is my dad used to say Kennedy shut down everything. Kennedy tried to shut everything down, and they moved all the gangsters out to the desert because they said they will never make it in Las Vegas. They'll never survive in the desert. And look at Las Vegas. They kicked them out of Newport. That's what Dad used to say. They kicked them out of Newport. And so, but I didn't know that, Donna. That's cool. But the Tommy gun would be Mars. A gun would be Mars. So we can see if that's near water. Tommy gun is in Aries. No. And, well, the moon is Frisch. So violence hit Frisch unexpectedly. Pretty well overwhelmed him with Jupiter. So that's just I thought it was really interesting that we can go back that far in time and it still tells us the story. It still gives us a story. The event charts will always tell us the story. And again, if you're new to forensic astrology is more based on the lines of what we call mundane astrology or event astrology. It's mundane astrology. It's not natal. The houses, of course, the angular houses, which are 1, 4, 7, and 10, mean a lot in a natal chart. But what the planets mean some different things as opposed to on a natal chart, but it hits with mundane astrology more so than it does a natal chart. But again, it's pretty good stuff, and it's really, I think it's very interesting, and they're just so accurate. They're so accurate. And Kirsty has taught Rouge, she's taught me. Kirsty McIntosh is the best in the world. Kirsty McIntosh from Australia. She's just the best. I think it is interesting, Linda. I do too. Does anybody else have anything else to say about these charts? I think they're very interesting. Yes, Newport was the mob scene. That's where all the mob was, with the Latin Quarter. And then we had all of those places. It was the Primrose. It was the Latin Quarter. So there's a lot of history in the Cincinnati, Newport area. Yeah, Little Las Vegas. It was where all the bootleg, it was good old Monmouth Street, Little Vegas. Oh yeah. I mean, they were all in with the mob. It was everyday life in this area down in Newport, Kentucky. And then they kicked them out to the desert. They'll never survive out in the desert. And look what happened. So that's how close Newport, Kentucky came to being Las Vegas. So does anybody else have anything else to talk about in the chat on these cases? Well, just please share as much as you can. If you find anything on Mercedes Vega, just please share, or just even her picture. It takes 2 seconds, Mercedes Vega, and we'll just start sharing it. Hopefully it'll get picked up in Maricopa. I haven't heard any updates on Daniel Robinson's case. I need to show that case to you guys because that's another very, very sad case where there were, again, a lot of places that were never even checked. Mr. Robinson did so much of that on his own. It was just heartbreaking to watch him. It was heartbreaking to watch for his son. All right, you guys, here we go. And I wanted to let you all know June 22nd through Donna's Shop, Silver Wolf, Treasures and Gifts. We're doing Astrology, the series 3 to 5 via video. And get me just, you can get the flyers up on truecrimemeetsastrology.com. And look on my Facebook page. I keep posting about it as well, or PM me as well. And I'll get you the information. And we should, Donna, I'm sure has the link up, or we'll have the link up soon. I need to always Donna in the chat. So we'll find out about that to register for the class. It's a great, it will start your journey into astrology. Start with your foundation. And then what I do is I get your birth information and email back your natal chart. And the second part of class, we learn how to interpret a birth chart. So I know Linda's going to be in that class. Michelle's going to be in that class. But it's just, it's a great class. And then we've got the Facebook group afterwards that you'll have questions, and I'm here to answer them. Okay, we've got, oh, thanks, Keith. Keith says, oh, did you see they released info that the 2 moms were buried in a freezer in that pasture? No. Is that the manner of Unalive? They were put in a freezer in a pasture? I did not see that. Were they? We have to look at that. There we go. Silver Wolf Treasures on Facebook. Thank you, ma'am. Oh, they didn't say. They didn't say if they were unalived prior to be putting into the freezer. I'll have to look up freezer in the book. Oh, okay. Yes, here we go for questions on the class. 12 to 2 in-house live at Donna's Shop, Silver Wolf Treasures in Independence, Kentucky, and 3 to 5 via Zoom. And yes, the link is up. All right. And Jennifer, thank you for that. It's a great class. Thank you so much. Oh, the charts are amazing. They're amazing. Denise, Rue and I are in a group, and we work on cases, and it never ceases to amaze us, Rue, does it? Especially when people are found. When we work with search and rescue groups, and we know they're out searching, and the maps that and what Kirsty has taught us is priceless. It's absolutely priceless. That's why, you got to, when somebody teaches, you pass on their wisdom. So that's what we're doing. But, to learn the basic foundation for astrology, just to know what you know here in this, watching the show. And that would get you the basic foundation to learn forensic astrology. It does, we have books that we look up everything. Rue and I look up everything. I heard buried. That's horrendous. That is horrendous for those two women. But there was a lot at the scene that they said seemed like they were SHOT, right? At the scene. Wow. I'm gonna have to look because that is horrendous. And that was in Oklahoma, right? And that was grandma and all that. Horrendous. We did that chart. I'm gonna have to get that chart out and look. That's just horrendous. Absolute. If that's the case. Oh, you're more than welcome, hon. It's my passion. More than welcome. I'm gonna look that up. I did not hear, Linda, in a freezer. I did not hear. So, but it was all, and they found them due to the pings on the phone, the burner phones. Please do a chart on the boys that the chief is now saying they didn't go in the water. I did. I don't you have, if you have to get accurate timestamps for these old charts. The old charts we have to have accurate timestamps. And you almost, and Rue will tell you this too, Lee. I would, and what we get is only as accurate as the time, because it's all math. It's all according to the time. And if it was like back in 1980 at around noon, it might not, it won't be. We have to have accurate. It's got to be accurate. I thought I did it. I thought it showed accident. I thought I did it. I'll have to look in my folder. I thought I did that chart, Lee. I thought we did do it. I don't know. I have to look in my chart, in my folder. If you give me an accurate timestamp, I'll sure do it. Oh, thanks, Donna. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about in the chat before we go? Everybody have a great long weekend here in the States, and welcome our friends from Canada. And you guys have a great weekend as well. And have a great week. And I will see you guys next week with another edition, another good case. I have 2 more cases for you next week, Miss Tammy, too. I promise. We'll do 2 cases, unless we get a map, unless I map it. And that's a little bit longer. But you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And everybody have a great weekend, too. Thanks so much for tuning in. I couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Enjoy your weekend, you guys. Good night.